It's dinner time, bitch! No! Are you nuts? Always! But now it's got a mouthful of boom!
10 out of 10. Best game I've ever played. Whoa. Hey guys! What is up? My name's Frank Garcia, and today we're going to be talking about my first impressions playing Gears 5 with you guys on stream for a couple hours last night, and just really what I think about the game. What's good, what's bad, and really just overall my general first impressions playing the newest Gears game in the franchise. And as always, if you guys do enjoy the content, please like and subscribe or check me out on Twitch. I'd really appreciate it. But anyways, back in 2008, when Gears of War 2 released, I can remember vividly how excited all of my friends were because of how much they loved the first Gears of War, and they all just wanted to jump in, get in some multiplayer games, and play the campaign with Marcus Phoenix once again. But for me, I just didn't understand the excitement. For me, the first Gears of War was, while fun and exciting, just kind of bland. I didn't relate to the characters, I wasn't a huge fan of the cover-based shooting, and the overall package just wasn't really tailored to the kind of game I wanted to play. And this really carried over to all of the Gears franchise up to now as well. I remember playing Gears 2 and 3 and having a decent time, but it was never a franchise that I really got into or really got invested in. But now, with Gears 5, I think that might have finally changed. The thing that first struck me about the Gears game this year is just how beautiful it is. Walking down a dark tunnel and having everything in front of you collapse and then the sunlight just come in is really mesmerizing. And even watching back the clips now from the stream last night, I'm realizing just how great this game really looks. The lighting is phenomenal, the texture work is great, and even the characters themselves look great in animations when they're talking and just interacting with mocap in general. Walking out into the icy tundra and just seeing the rays of light hit down onto the floors of the ice and really just floorboards is mesmerizing. And all the characters and textures around you look great while you're doing it, which is just a huge added plus to the Gears series, which really lends itself to amazing graphics and set pieces. And here, Gears 5 does not disappoint. The game looks amazing and it's better for it. But the Gears series itself has always been known for really good graphics. As I remember back in the Xbox 360 days, people were just gushing over how great all of the new Gears games looked, so that's not really anything new for the series. What is new for the series though, at least for me, is just how great these characters are in general and how well they're acted and mocapped as well. For example, take a look at this scene, one of my favorites from my playtime so far.
Like a shit stick.
Shit stick? Del, theories?
I don't know. Maybe a stick made out of shit?
Or a stick used to stir up shit.
All right, fuck off. How about we make this interesting? You and me spar right now.
And how exactly is beating you interesting?
Yes or no?
You want in on this?
Pretty sure what's actually being measured here is gonna leave me at a distinct disadvantage. Then again, maybe not.
Hilarious. Are you in or not?
Dude, this writing is phenomenal. Watching the characters in Gears 5 interact with each other is a genuine treat, and I'm always looking forward to the next cutscene to not only see how the story progresses, but just how the characters interact with each other. Great motion capture work, facial animations, and outstanding acting performances from really all of the actors round this entire game up into an amazing piece that I never really remember all the old Gears games having. I genuinely care about the characters this time, especially because of their comedic tones and really just their drama and genuine care, and you can tell how much work was put into this story and acting to make it really fun. Speaking of story though, let's talk a little bit about that. Because while the characters and their interactions are great, from what I've seen so far, the story is kind of just cookie cutter and, standard Gears affair. And while by no means I can really vote on what I truly think about the story, as I haven't finished the game yet, I can still say from what I've played so far, I don't really care that much about what's going on, why I'm doing things, or trying to help people. And part of that could be because I did not play Gears 4, and that's probably a big part of it. But part of it as well, too, is just the story and what's going on around me isn't that interesting to me. And I've kind of always felt that way about the Gears series. It's kind of just a very cookie cutter story, in my opinion, and it doesn't really flow well in terms of wanting to discover more. What does carry the story, though, is definitely the characters, and they're strong enough that it really does make you want to push forward and learn more. But the Gears series isn't just about great characters or interesting story and graphics. A lot of Gears is just badass gameplay and chainsawing enemies in half. Let's talk about that. And as I said before, I was never a huge fan of kind of the third-person action cover shooting that Gears has to offer, but I can really appreciate how refined and fluid this year's Gears really feels to play. Getting behind cover and shooting people is fast and easy, and running up to your enemies and just beating them to death is satisfying, tactile, and, let's be honest, fun. Getting up in your enemy's face and just jamming their shotgun up and blowing their head off and seeing guts fly everywhere is always going to be satisfying, and on top of that, you're constantly finding new and exciting weapons, like a giant chainsaw launcher that will just rip enemies apart. And it's fun to just pick up these things and just constantly be having dopamine rushes as you run down the battlefield, just flinging guts around yourself and having blood and gore go everywhere. Sometimes that's just what you want to do. Every gun feels weighty, unique, and powerful, and pulling the trigger on every single gun is super satisfying, and seeing the bullets fly into enemies and blood go everywhere, there's really nothing better than that in the Gears series. On top of this, the enemy variety in Gears is really astounding. Playing Gears, you realize how few enemy types there are in other games, as I felt like every different corridor I walked down, I was meeting a new, interesting enemy with different attack patterns and different things it did that I had to figure out and then destroy. The environments themselves are constantly changing as well. For example, at one point early on in the game, I was in an opera house and I was on a little table that was turning as I was fighting a giant hunk of meat with a goddamn machine gun on its back. I think it would be almost impossible for anyone to argue that that isn't just pure, unadulterated fun. And from what I've played, that's really what Gears 5 is all about. You can tell how much love, blood, sweat, and tears went into this game from the developers, and how much fun they had with it. Every different scene you walk into is vastly different than the old ones. You have new enemies, new guns, and just new kind of dialogue options and things that happen with characters that really just keep you on your toes, and you're always excited with constant dopamine rushes that want to make you keep playing. One thing I will say though that I didn't like about Gears 5 was some of the controls on PC feel quite floaty. I remember multiple points where I tried to get into cover and it felt like I was just ringing Tarzan around a goddamn tree as I was going into a little bunker to just hunker down on. And it was really hard to make sharp turns or just anything like that with the third-person camera and the PC controls. On top of that, a lot of the environment interactions get kind of annoying when you have to do them with your little robot Jack. And I hated having to kind of use him to get past so many different things instead of just going up and pressing things myself. And on top of that, interacting with the environment with your actual character can get weird at times too. For example, there's a lot of ledges that feel like you should be able to jump off them, but really there's just an invisible wall. I guess I'm gonna go check out a different spot. I hate how the guy doesn't just like fluidly run off things. Like it feels very rigid. That's one thing I don't like. Overall though, Gears 5 has been an amazing experience thus far, and I can easily say if this experience carries throughout the rest of the game, this will be my favorite Gears to date. And while that isn't saying too much, as I never was a huge Gears fan in the first place, I can say that now the series is finally starting to win me over with great characters, great writing, fun gameplay, and just awesome and changing environment and enemy types. I haven't gotten to play multiplayer yet or work with the upgrade system that much in single player either, so I can wait to talk about those more in my final review, but from what I've seen so far, hats off to the developers of Gears 5, as they've really got something special here. And while I don't think it's going to win any Game of the Year awards or really be maybe a masterpiece that people look back on, like say Halo 2 and 3, I think this is a very, very strong entry in the Gears series, and it really just goes to show how great the developers behind Gears truly are. And I'm hoping that in the future, whether it's Gears or not, I have more and more games to play from them, because I'm super impressed. But yeah guys, those are my first impressions and kind of thoughts after playing just a couple of hours of Gears 5. And as I said, I can highly recommend this game. It's awesome, it's fun, and if you love the old Gears series, you're gonna love this one as well. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below about Gears 5 if you played, or what you think of my review. And if you enjoyed it, definitely like and subscribe, it helps a lot, or check me out on Twitch, I really appreciate it, boys. But yeah guys, I'll see you next Sunday.